Dating fathers in the animal kingdom. Also unrelated, if anybody has tips for getting sunscreen out of an eyeball, please tell me before I throw this entire eye in the trash. We're gonna start with the Rhea, which I just learned about, and I think it's like an off-brand emu, but they're small. I'm gonna show you a picture. Unsure if this is full size, but it's basically miniature, which means I love it. Anyway, it says the males dutifully incubate the female eggs until they hatch, which, good job, right? Don't get excited, because he's got hoes in different area codes. He's polygamous, courting up to 12 females at a time. This part made me laugh. It says, in addition to incubating as many as 50 eggs at a time. 50? First of all, I see how big these eggs are, and if I'm trying to imagine 50 under this guy, surely not. They must just be either they're piled up really high or they're spread out really wide, neither of which seem ideal. He's in charge of nest building and raising the chicks for the first 6 months with no assistance from the mother. Where did the mothers go? This bird is basically the Nick Cannon of birds, but he takes care of all the babies all by himself, and for that reason, I have to give this one a 10 out of 10. This one, a largemouth bass, says they're highly protective of their spawn, yet they're still prone to eating their own children. Pardon? This occurs after most of the newborns have swum away. Then it says, as a reward to himself for helping the strong ones, just as a little treat, he just eats a handful of the children. 0 out of 10. These are marmosets, and they almost always have twins. And it says the weight would be like a human female giving birth to a 40-pound baby. The hardest of passes. As somebody who had 2 5-pound twins, absolutely not. Back to the dad. It says the female needs a break. Yeah, she needs a break. Luckily, this is where dad comes in. He just basically takes care of the newborn, like a little bit, it seems. But it's because she can become pregnant only 2 weeks later. I would fake my own death. No, the marmoset seems like it's doing the absolute least, but it's not actively harming the children, so we're gonna give it like a 5. But the seahorse dad, he carries the baby. So the mom puts the eggs in his little baby pouch, and then he has the babies. Evidently, they're hatched inside the pouch. There can be up to 2,500 young. So now I feel like they're microscopic. While the energy spent makes the seahorse one of the best animal dads, valid, the truth is, after birth, they both abandon the young, and only 0.5% of their offspring survive. And to add insult to injury, the male will return to the same partner later that day to mate again. Y'all are freaky. However, I'm gonna give him like a 7 because carrying a multiple pregnancy is difficult, and I also might run away from home if I had 2,500 babies. This is a brilliant thighed poison frog, and these are his babies on his back. Basically, she lays the eggs, and then they both collectively monitor the eggs to make sure they're not like getting crusty. Then once they're born, he lays next to them and they all climb on his back, and he transports them to a puddle like a weird airport shuttle. But he also has multiple wives, so he's got to go to multiple puddles to move his multiple babies. I don't know what's going on in the animal kingdom, consenting adults, I guess, but he is making sure all of the babies are not drying out. We love an involved father. This is like a dad who is driving the kids to every single extracurricular activity, so we're gonna give him an 8 out of 10. Grizzly bears, on the other hand, will just eat any cubs he comes across, his or not, doesn't matter. So after what I am assuming is a disappointing one-night stand, then the mom has to worry that her idiot ex-boyfriend is going to come back and eat the children. Negative 100 out of 10. Saved the best for last because emperor penguins are the king of the animal dads. So the mom lays an egg and then immediately goes on a 2-month hunting trip, on which she's probably like drinking and hanging out with her friends. And the dad is incubating the egg the entire time. They spend 65 days balancing the egg on their feet and covering it with like, they have like a flap, and they don't eat the entire time. No food. Then when the chick is born, it can't regulate its own body temperature. So the dad has to be near it at all times. So they make like a little dad play group, and they all keep the chicks warm the entire time until the moms come back. Then the mom comes back full of food and energy. At least she brought food for the baby. And then she takes over. And then the dad finally, after over 2 months, gets to eat food. The emperor penguin gets an 11 out of 10 because if he wanted to, he would. Okay, happy Father's Day. I'm gonna go see if I can order an eye wash station on Amazon.